Happy holidays. I am Joseph Ward here with Neighborhood Medical Center, and I have a special interview with you today here on location with my good friend Chirag Shah. How you doing today?
Doing beautiful, man. How about yourself?
I am doing great. Thank you again for sitting down with me for this interview.
For sure.
You have a great story, an inspiring story, and we're literally sitting in the middle of your vision here, and I want to be a part of telling your stories. One of the things you are great at is telling other people's stories, and you're a great storyteller yourself, but I want to be a part of telling your story. So welcome to Healthy Happy Hour here, what we do at Neighborhood Medical Center, where we make sure we connect people like you to the people within our community.
Oh boy.
So thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. Super excited to be able to do this.
Oh, no problem. So before we get into the business and everything, kind of want to get some background information about yourself.
For sure.
Like, how did you get to where you are? So who is Chirag Shah, and what are some of the things that made you the person you want to be?
Yeah, so hey everybody, my name is Chirag Shah. I'm a son, I'm a brother, I'm an uncle, I'm a community advocate. I am someone that you can depend on to make things happen. My story starts with my family. I grew up from two hardworking parents that immigrated from India 30 years ago with a middle school education and $10 US. I also have 4 older sisters, and yes, I am the baby of the family. Does not mean I'm spoiled, at least that's what I think. But I think my story starts with that. My parents, hard workers, entrepreneurs, the go big, go home mentality. They started off as housekeepers when they first came over to the West Coast, West Side, and started off as housekeepers in some very sketchy motels, from Canada to Kentucky to Abbeville, Alabama. So eventually opened up their first 16-room motel in Panama City. And that's kind of where my hustle, grind, grit came from. And then my sisters, they taught me compassionism. And again, regardless if I see it from your point of view right away or later on in the road, I always think about, hey, you're a human being and we all bleed the same. But maybe it just needs a little bit more time to get to know my side and your side.
Right.
So I think my parents taught me hustle, grit, and grind, and my sisters shared the power of compassionism with me. And because of all of that, I am who I am today.
Gotcha. Now that's excellent. That's excellent. The people around us and our experiences help to mold us into who we are.
Yeah.
Influences matter, and you're telling the story of having solid influences within your life to help create a person who is grounded, but also a person who has vision as well. So, being a person of immigrants who come to America, what was your experience like, just adjusting to America, not just America as a whole, but you mentioned different cities you lived in. So what was your experience like being able, or having to adjust and trying to find yourself and maintain yourself within that adjustment?
Yeah, so some people know, but a lot of people out there don't know. But I'm actually very introverted. I'm a very shy person.
Yeah.
Someone that's hide emotions pretty well. I know that's not healthy, but hey, being better every day on it. But yeah, I was very shy, still kind of am. I always joke around and say if there was like a professional league for being shy, I'd be the Michael Jordan of shyness. And so I grew up originally in Panama City Beach, Florida. I lived there from day 1 to about end of elementary school, 5th grade. And then my parents were opening up a new hotel in Marianna, Florida, and we had to move abruptly to Marianna. It was tough, it was hard, because it was a much smaller town, and I didn't know anybody.
Right.
And the challenging part about living in a small town was probably like there was at the time maybe a handful of families of color. Definitely no Indians at the time.
Right.
Definitely it's a lot better and it's grown quite a bit nowadays. But initially it was tough because I remember one of the biggest eye-opening thing right off the bat was as I was trying to get admitted into the school district, I was asked to change my name because Chirag wouldn't be accepted. And the admin that was working with my parents and I at the time basically brought out a nickname book, like a boy's nickname book. He's like, hey, if you need any ideas, you may want to take a look. And we're kind of like, what's going on? Did this really happen? And my parents was like, still kind of very, like they've been in the US probably after that, like at that point for like 20 years. So they kind of understand, but not really at the same time. So we're like, okay, if this is gonna help me fit in, obviously I'm born here, I may look a little different, but okay, fine, let's do it. So I chose Chris because it was the closest thing to Chirag. And I'm like, and in my head this entire time, I'm like, Chirag isn't that hard to say. It's chur, like you're churning butter, throw an og on it, and boom, you got Chirag. As simple as that. But I think the challenge was like people didn't want to just try. They assumed it was impossible. And I'm like, just try it. You are probably going to be right, or if not close. But I went with Chris and thinking that was going to help me fit in, adjust really well to this new setting. But unfortunately, it was probably one of the worst times of my life.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I would imagine. What's interesting is I went to Pineview Elementary in Tallahassee. And Pineview had an ESOL program.
Right.
So I was exposed to people from all around the world since kindergarten.
Right.
I had friends from Korea, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, a couple other places I can't remember. And then my godparents are Ghanaian.
Okay.
My nickname is Kwame, so my family calls me Kwame. If anybody who calls me Kwame, they've known me since the 80s.
If you don't mind me asking, what does Kwame mean?
Kwame is Ghanaian for boy born on Saturday.
Okay.
So, because I was born on Saturday.
Yeah.
So that was my name, and people still call me that to this day, and I have no problem with it.
What I love about my name, it means light.
That's good.
And that, with what I'm doing today, with one of my companies.
Yes.
And I'll share that story with you a little bit later.
But what's interesting is, when I was young, I always wondered why some of the people that I knew personally, some of the people that I saw on TV who were not from America, and if you just listen to them say their name and say what they say, you can say their name.
Right.
People would always make them pick American names. And I never understood. But now, as you're telling your story, and as I got older, it made sense to me why they were so many foreign people with American names, and that wasn't your birth name.
Right.
But then I started noticing, hold on. So we can say like names like Detlef Schrempf,
Right.
Mike Krzyzewski, like Jim Boeheim that's not spelled Boeheim.
Right.
So we can say all these
that's facts.
all these European names. We can say these names, but we can't say these other names.
Right.
I like see basically going back to what you said. So y'all just not even trying anymore.
Right.
That's what that means.
Yeah. And like, I mean, like going back, like my dad's name's Praveen. We called him Peter. My mom's name's Anila. We called her Anna. And then obviously so on with my sisters. Yeah.
Just a lack of effort. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's why we do what we do today, because we were able. I'm glad we were able to connect with, because we both have similar visions to make the world a better place. Because I know for me, I want Tallahassee and any place I'm in to be better than when I found it. And being able to link and be like-minded, I think the future is bright for both of us. And that goes back to your name being light.
Yeah.
So let's get into the businesses. So you had those experiences. How did those experiences help shape the businesses that you have? And can you tell us about your different businesses?
Yeah, so like again, going back to that middle school days. So right off the jump, I was bullied. I was made fun of. I was called a terrorist. It was tough, man. I was like, and at that age of being a middle school student, you do your best to laugh it off. Come 7th grade, it got worse. Death threats. I had an American history teacher joke and be about, hey, there goes Chris. Somebody check his backpack. He has some in it. And that was just kind of like my eye opener. Like, okay, I want to leave a legacy behind. And that legacy is simple as, hey, there goes Chirag. He's helped at least one person. If I can help more than that, great. But it just starts with one person. So with that mindset and with some of the reasons why I became an entrepreneur, that was, I wanted to be more extroverted. I wanted to kind of make my own name and not take my parents' hard work. I don't want people to think I was handed anything. I want to work for my hard work and work for my name. And then 3, I wanted to break stereotypes. I don't want people to think that Indians are only good at hotels or engineers or doctors. You never hear anything in the creative industry. I'm like, why not? We can do that too. So with all of that and what I said about having the powers of compassionism, grit, grind, hustle, that's led me to start 2 amazing companies, built with a lot of great people. The first company is Current Agency. It's a digital creative ad agency here in Tallahassee, Florida, and Savannah, Georgia, where we do everything from branding, photography, video, web, social, SEO, everything all in one. And then the Made Equal clothing brand is a new endeavor that I started this past September. And I feel like that's where I'm definitely going to leave my legacy behind. It's a athleisure streetwear brand, clothing brand. But more importantly, it's a platform for people from all walks of life, all shapes and colors, to be able to share their vulnerabilities and their adversities in a safe place, with the hopes that anybody watching that may be going through the same instant or same adversity may be inspired to either ask for help or share their own story.
Man, that's amazing. Being able to take your adversity and not become a victim of it.
Yeah.
But use that as fuel to push yourself forward, but also come up with an idea that not only helps you, but helps others. That's how you're supposed to do it.
Exactly. And the thing is, like, again, coming from that introverted self, like, I just didn't know how to talk to people. I was scared to share the story with anyone and everyone because I'm like, well, what if they don't see it my way?
Right.
Like, and I couldn't really go to my family and talk because they didn't really understand.
Right.
And so I was just like, well, if I had such a hard time sharing this story, this time of ordeal, how many other people in my own community, state, world has that same problem? Right. So I wanted this to be more than just a clothing brand because we have so many clothing brands out in the world. But I wanted to do some kind of social impact and also create a platform for everybody to be able to talk.
And thank you for that, because a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is for people to tell their story. I'm one of the people that suffer with that as well. There's a lot. It depends on what platform you've seen me on. So some platform like my own, I've told it all. But especially if you're just meeting me, or it depends on how you see me, you may not know everything about me because we all have a story, we all have a background, we all have adversity. But a lot of that is difficult to talk about, especially if some of that led to trauma or very bad situations, and being able to know that you're in a safe space for one, but also being comfortable enough with yourself to say, well, these things did happen, but I'm going to grow from this, and I'm not going to be stagnant. I'm not going to be a victim. I am going to become stronger from focus and using that as fuel.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful that you did that.
Yeah, and it's not easy. I mean, again, it's still like I know I've come a long way, but it's still the challenge for me. Whether it's with my close friends or even with my family members, like I'm always that very quiet kid.
Yeah.
And it's tough to just, hey, I'm here too. Don't worry, I'm here. I'm involved. I want to be active, but it's tough because it's like. The other side of me is just like, I hate to be a burden to people.
Yeah.
Like I would rather just take it on myself. And like maybe that's just kind of what I guess maybe it was my Indian culture, or whether it's just like what I saw in the media, what a perfect man should be.
Yes.
And so I'm like, I know I can ask for help, but it's just like, I got this. I don't, you are already stressed. I want to take as much off your plate as possible.
So what's interesting you say that is, that was one of the things that I'm working on coming into LT this year.
Right.
Is ask for help.
Yeah, yeah.
Stop being on the island by myself. Stop thinking that I can just do it and wearing myself thin.
Yeah.
Ask for help. And that's one of the, I'm glad you said that, because it's just a reminder that we do have to learn to ask for help, especially as trying to be men and trying to understand manhood and define it for ourselves and live through it. But one of the I guess, the old cowboy ways and stuff, you got to be a man, you just got to shut up and take it.
Right.
And now I'm full pushback mode. We're not shutting up and we're not just taking it. I need help.
Yeah. And like for me, like one of the reasons why I came into LT, applied for LT, was, I don't know why, but like whenever we have like some kind of group discussion, I tend to just fall back and like hide and get very nervous. And so that's why I've been trying to be more, if you've noticed, like whenever like there's an opportunity of like somebody, like when we're all talking, I'll like always, like I'm kind of low-key forcing myself to like, just do it. You're around people that believe and love you.
Yeah.
And just do it. So like I've been trying to like, but it's still nerve-wracking for me to like, hey, I got an idea, or hey, what do you guys think about this? It's tough. And again, that's one thing that I'm glad I got involved with LT, is being able to break into that kind of mold. But at the same time, like probably one of my favorite things about LT so far is just like there are so many people in our group that I probably wouldn't have right off the bat connected.
Right.
And I'm just like, wow, like.
It's
we're
amazing.
actually more alike than I originally thought. And again, that goes to what we were talking about before this conversation, was this community, though it may be divided, we have so many things in common that we can build something beautiful.
We can.
It's just leaving some of those egos behind.
Right, but that's why the name Made Equal is great. It works with it, because we are all made equal. We have to be able to see it, understand it, and have because we should be in paradigm shifts right now.
Right.
Thinking new ways, moving on from things that did not work for us, and embracing things that did, but still creating new things. So, with Made Equal, it's something you're passionate about. You're using it to create change in the world. You are reflecting. You're not only reflecting your culture, you're reflecting the culture of Tallahassee and all of the people that you come in contact with. How do you use Made Equal for the important conversations, and what is the beauty of the important conversations that you can have with the people that you're able to sit down with, or the beauty of the impact that Made Equal is making right now?
Yeah, so at the forefront, conversations has to happen. And I mean, not just one and we're done, I'll see you next year kind of thing. These conversations have to happen consistently to be able to challenge the status quo.
Right.
And these conversations are easy, they're definitely gonna be tough, hard hitting, but we have to have them. I mean, when I tell my stories with my peers in the community, we sit down and go heart to heart, like, what do you see as the challenge? Like, I think what we need to do is have these conversations so we can hear both sides.
Yeah.
And then, again, like, I'm not trying, with my brand, with my content, I'm not trying to change your perspective right off the bat, but the goal needs to be, I want you to see it from my point of view.
Right.
That's the first step. Because once we, and again, seeing it from my point of view may happen right now, or it may happen a little bit later, I think, but like, getting to that point is the first step. Because once we can figure out seeing it from both point of view, then when we can find a solution
Right.
to whatever that problem may
Right.
be, whether that's homelessness, whether that is celebrating our accomplishments as a community, or just people doing good in the community.
Right.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's you designed this company a specific way. Now, let me ask this part too. The designs that you make for Made Equal,
Yeah.
what is the idea and what is like the incentives behind the designs of your clothes and the messaging on your clothes as it pertains to the overall goals?
Yeah, I mean, really at the end of the day, these going back to the question before, the conversations, it doesn't mean it has to just be in person.
Right.
It can be online.
Right.
I can't tell you how many people have said some very cruel, negative things in the beginning days, like even now. And I see that as an opportunity. Like, there's some, like, you guys could go and see some of our, I did an article on the importance of diversity inclusion. And my goodness, the negativity I saw, I'm like, it wasn't like, I don't know why, but unfortunately that is just how the world is. But instead of me deleting the comments, I challenged them. I'm like, hey, I know this is going to be constant going, but I'm going to make an effort to be like, answer all 2,000 comments that I got on that post and make an effort. And like, regardless if they see it from my point of view, I want to know in my heart that I at least try.
Right.
If you don't try, you don't know. And so like with the designs, it's more just inspiring people. It's I have an amazing creator director. She is the creative director of both of my companies. And her name is Savannah Swindle. I'd say it if she was sitting right next to me, or if she wasn't. I say it to everybody. But as founder, as CEO of the company, you are labeled the face of the company.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I always tell people, the face does not ever happen without the heart and soul. And that is what Savannah is to me and my company. And the cool thing about it is, she's my best friend first.
That's good.
I can't ask for anything better. So a lot of it goes with like, we want people to see our messaging on our clothing, on our content, and be inspired, to be challenged. Like, there's not one way to do things in life. You can, again, bend things, challenge it, disrupt, cause chaos. So that's what we try to do with our clothing, with the people we partner up with, and it's just the beginning.
But that's needed. That's needed. We need disruption. We need something new. We need fresh ideas flowing.
Right.
We need new people in political positions. We need, the world has to open its eyes and see what's going on.
Yeah.
I do think we have to be honest about how the world has always been as well.
Yeah.
Because the world has always had a lot of ugly in it. But I think the world has always had a lot of ugly because people are blinded by tradition. I was having a conversation with a gentleman and he used that phrase and they broke it down in the context that we were talking in. But being blinded by tradition is, we've always done it this way and we're always going to do it this way. But I don't know why we do it.
Right.
I have no idea why we do it this way, but we're going to continue to do it this way. And then when you're challenged on that, you get angry, you get scared, they get fidgety, and you have pushback because people are challenging the tradition. But traditions or everything, ideas, everything needs to be challenged. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's not good or it doesn't work, but it needs to be challenged. If somebody had to ask the question why, you need to be able to answer. If somebody say, well, hey, why not? You need to be able to answer that.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt to be different.
Right. And being yourself is being different, and it's not being different at the same time, but it's being you, making sure you understand yourself. But in saying that, in knowing yourself and understanding yourself, the journey that you had, how did it impact your self-discovery? Going through the hardships, going through the blatant racism that you faced, how did that help? How did that impact your self-discovery, rather?
I think it just honed in on so my mom, she is very religious, very religious. So religious that her brothers and sisters are famous nuns in India, like the equivalent.
Right.
And I know everything my mom has taught me, even to this day. Like, you tell me to speak some Jainism, I got you on that. And so obviously, I don't want to get too religious, but there's a lot of ideologies and such. But really the main principle it comes down to is showing love to man and animal in our religion. So I take that as compassionism. And my mom's like, you gotta do this, you gotta do that to practice what you preach. And I'm like, Mom, no, that's not the only way. If I am just compassionate to anyone and everyone, I'm doing religion, doing Jainism.
Right.
And so really I just, at the end of everything, whether that's me waking up, to me building a website, to me remembering that I need to record this for content for Made Equal, it just starts with compassionism. When I first started this journey, I was like, okay, I gotta figure out to explain to my parents how posting on Facebook, of course it's more than that, is going to pay for my bills, my car bill, my house bill, my late night Taco Bell runs. And so I did this for myself first. But then as I started to grow, as I started to hire my first employee, Savannah, my mindset just completely changed. It was more, I'm doing this to take care of my people.
Right.
And that's my go-to saying from a Drake song. And I want to do everything in my power to make sure that they're happy. What's the saying? We wear this many hats. But really, and I do wear a lot of hats, figuratively. And and I think really the only hat that really matters to me is happiness. Then the way I break it down is, if my employees are happy, they're going to do great work for our clients. Clients are going to be happy because they get results that grow their businesses, and it grows the communities that they're a part of. And then that makes a full circle back to me. So it starts with taking care of your people. And so with my power of compassionism and with my mindset of taking care of people first, everything else will happen when it needs to happen. That's kind of my why.
That's good. So, explaining your business to your parents. Because, and as my friends and I growing up, I have two real good friends. We may have started maybe about 7 businesses.
Right.
We were just trying. We were trying.
For sure.
One of the main ones, we was going to be rappers at one point.
Nice.
We had everything. We had a whole booth in the house, whole studio in the house.
I still got my turntables if we ever need a...
We got to get on it. We made a couple albums and things, but we didn't know the business.
Right.
But explaining to my dad that I want to be a rapper, boy, no. Boy, no. You trying to be a glorified poet. Now, what's different now is this is early 2000s.
Okay.
My dad now, and that was him like in his late 30s, early 40s. Now in his late 60s, he's like, you need to work for yourself. You need to be your own boss. Because at that time, he was like, you have to work for the state and be stable. But now he's like, you need to be your own boss. I'm like, oh. You change your tune now.
Yeah.
But what was that conversation like with your parents telling them, hey, I want to do this?
Yeah. So I'm gonna preface it. you don't know until you know,
Yeah.
kind of thing. There's always, again, I'm not a parent, and the saying is you won't understand until you're a parent yourself. So in the beginning, I kind of, okay, so this idea of becoming an entrepreneur started when I was heading to the national championship game with my mentor, and we're at the alumni tailgate, and he dropped the idea of, Chirag, take a risk, start your own thing. I've seen your work, I've heard nothing but great things about you, take a risk. So like from that point on, the seeds were planted. And then I was waiting for something to happen, and then one weekend I went to go see my parents, and I'm like, guys, I have this most crazy idea.
Right.
What are your thoughts? And my sisters were there too. And I was like, well, I'm thinking about starting my own business. And my parents were just looking, and then continued. And I'm like, it's going to be a marketing business. They had no idea what I was talking about.
Right.
But I was like going into like websites, video, content. They had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, Chirag, that's great, we support you, but you are only 24 years old. You've never worked a day of your life in an agency.
Yeah.
You've never started your own business.
Yeah.
And all my sisters were the same. They were like, no, don't do it. But I'm just like, look, I'm 24. If I make a mistake and it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. I can figure it out.
Right.
And so I went with it. And then honestly, Joe, for the first 4 or 5 years, it was tough. Like, when you were saying about your dad, like, I mean, like, are you talking, I was like, in my head, I'm like, you're literally talking about my dad. Because, like, again, now I know why he did that. Not for spite, but more for just, we want you to be okay.
Right.
So, like, I heard everything from, like, no, like, there's no way you're doing this. You need to take over the family business. I did this all for you, my mom too. And I'm just like, no, like, respectfully, I'm going to not, because again, going back to what I said earlier, I kind of wanted to make my own name.
Right.
Like, I don't want to have people come to me and be like, oh, Chirag was just handing stuff. He never has to work in a day. I'm like, no. Like, I'm thankful for what my parents did. They brought me and my sisters into this world. They provided us a house, food, great education, great opportunities. So I looked at it as, why can't I do something more with that?
Right.
And so for like those 4 or 5 years, it's been like, I dreaded to call my parents. And my mom is one that loves to talk on the phone multiple times a day. Once I leave the office or leave the house and then come back home. And so like those constant calls were just nerve-wracking, because it was like, if you don't stop doing this right now, I'm gonna come over and fire all your employees for you. It was like threats like that. And it was just like kind of demoralizing. I'm like, gosh, like, why? Like, and then like, again, thankful that I had people like Savannah, because oh my gosh, like, people say it's a roller coaster. I always like to throw the analogy of like the iceberg of being an entrepreneur. Like, you see only the top part, which is the glory, the accolades, the recognition.
Things that look good.
But you see like you can't see the much bigger part is like constant stress. Clients can fire you. They're not paying on time, or just clients being ridiculous.
Trying
Like,
to scrape money to pay bills, stuff.
And so, but like, I think what was the coolest part about that moment was, it was May of 2017. No, sorry, not May of 2017. March of 2018 is when we had our 4-year anniversary in this new space. And I just told my parents and my family, here's the address, just come. And we were having a big party where we had like hundreds of people. It was a party. And they walked in, and the expression that I saw on their face was just, I think it was that moment when they realized, okay, I guess you can make money posting on Facebook. And ever since that, it's just been, what can we do? Can we help you build, can you teach us how to build a website? Do I need to make some calls? My mom's the most adorable. She's like, every time I call, she's like, so how many new clients did you get? And then now, like with this clothing brand, my mom's like, obviously my parents are finally retired after working, grinding for forever. And my mom's like, I'm bored. Can I help you package orders? Can I sew anything for you? And so it's refreshing, rewarding, and just
Beautiful.
Straight up beautiful and love that. So like now going back and like, no, it wasn't anything out of spite. It was just parents wanting to make sure that their kids are successful when they're there and when they're not.
So when we're younger, we don't understand that because we're in our feelings.
Yeah.
And it's for both sides, because now I'm on this side, because when I started my YouTube channel.
Congratulations on the number of followers.
Thank you. Because I started it in 2014.
Yeah.
I didn't tell my dad I had a YouTube channel to maybe 2019, 2020.
It is funny you mentioned that, but continue.
So my strategy with him was, I'm just going to stop telling you what I want to do, and I'll let you know about it once it's at a good point. Yeah. And that's what it was. So now, like your parents now, every time I talk to them, how's the YouTube channel? They ain't demonetized you again, did they?
Yeah.
How many new subscribers and all these things? What new content? And it is refreshing to see that your parents trust you. Because with fathers, what I learned though with fathers too is, fathers do love their sons. But as men, we have to gain each other's respect.
For sure.
And you gained your father's respect, you gained your parents' respect when they walked in and saw your business and saw your work and saw all the hard things. Because like my parents, your parents did not understand the new world, the new way, new way to do things. They just don't understand it, because to them, you go to work, you either do physical work, you sit down at the desk and you do this, and this is how you make work.
This is the only way you can do it.
Right. Even though we know all the superstars, we know all the entrepreneurs, even though we see them, but those are anomalies.
Right.
But this is the safe way.
For sure.
So they want us to be safe. But my message to the parents is, sometimes the safe way isn't the best way.
Right.
And sometimes you have to take a risk and take a leap to further yourself and to better yourself, to be able to go to the next step. And yes, your child may fail, but that failure will do one of two things, and that's the choice of the child. It's either going to make them stronger or make them quit.
Yeah.
But you have to support them.
And especially in our world today, this is something we talked about in one of our LT program days. Like, you can go the traditional college route. You can start your own business, or you could even take a trade. Right.
And it's just,
and you can be successful in any of those.
Exposure, being exposed to new information, new ways of doing things. That's what I love about what both you and I do, as far as using our platforms to get messages out and connect with the community.
For sure.
So with that being said, how has Made Equal and Current been able to integrate itself into the Tallahassee community and be able to give back and help out in Tallahassee?
Yeah, I'll start with Current. Since day one, we've always been about small businesses and nonprofits. They're the life and heart of every community. If they grow, we all grow together. So, Current's done so much pro bono work for nonprofits throughout the years. It can be as simple as us designing something for a nonprofit, because nonprofits lack in funds, to going to a hunger fight event in the community and help pack meals for Title I students. And then on the Made Equal side, so obviously we have our shop, it's an e-commerce store, but we work with 15 different local charitable organizations throughout the Tallahassee area, from Big Brothers Big Sisters to Boys and Girls Club to Village Square, Equality Florida, to name some.
Omega Lamplighters.
And so many great other organizations. And what's cool is, for every item that we sell, or for every order that comes in, we donate 10% of each order back to a partner. But the caveat is that the customer picks where that 10% goes.
Right.
So like you go to our website, you pick a shirt or pick joggers or whatever you want, pick your size, and then once you hit to that checkout mode, you'll see a list of all our partners, but you also get a description of what the partner does overall and specifically for racial equity, equality, and inclusion.
Right.
And then how we have the website built out is once that order comes in, that selection auto feeds into our spreadsheet.
Right.
And then we either make the donation right then and there on their website, or we wait until at the end of the month to make a donation.
Right.
And so with these organizations, not only do we get to help them again, nonprofits are always trying to find other ways to fundraise, but with the lack of funding, that limits their creativity to do so. So they have to limit to things that others have done. So we were like, okay, we have this thing where we could also help these local organizations with fundraising too. So yeah, I mean, the cool thing about it is it's been about a year now, and we've donated almost $7,000.
That's good.
And that's really what it's about.
Yeah. Putting that money back into the community, back into the people who are working in the community.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. When we find a way to not make it about ourselves, because yes, we've created our platforms that we created because we do have a goal, a personal goal that we want to set, but in reaching that personal goal, if we can manage to help as many people as possible,
For sure.
that's the most rewarding part about it.
Yeah, and excuse me. Helping people is what it's about. I mean, so something that we started tapping into right off the bat, NIL, name and mention likeness. We have had the opportunity to work with a couple student athletes. And when you think of a student athlete, you're like, look at me, I want this, I'm young, I want it all. And nothing wrong with that. But the two individuals that we get the opportunity to work with, when I met them for the first time, I was like, okay, I should not be judging a book by its cover until get to know the person before you actually put a label, put like a official view on them. And so I met Trayshawn Ward.
Okay.
He was a former running back at Florida State.
Yeah, you told me about it
And
before.
now at Kansas State, now at Boston College.
Okay.
Shout out to Trey. Man, what a amazing person. We had our first content shoot at Cascades Park, and we met for the first time. And right out the back, he's like, Chirag. He said my name right. I'm like, dude, I already love you. It's the small things in life. But that was awesome.
Right.
He's like, dude, I'm so excited for this. He was just genuinely excited to be a part of it. And he was even when we had our call before that, he was like, Chirag, I don't want the money to go to myself. I want it to go to a charity of my choice. I know you work with a lot of charitable organizations in Tallahassee, but how about a charity back home? So he works with the Boys and Girls Club of Plant City, or Tampa Bay, since he's from Plant City. So I'm like, so who says that? Who does that? So there's that. And then we work with Michaela Edenfield from softball. And she's just a beautiful soul. That's how I label Michaela. Such a great heart. And so specifically how we're helping individual people now. Obviously we do our stories, we inspire people. I mean, these stories have been seen by 500,000 people now, which is crazy within a year.
I know, right?
And I've had probably a handful of people in various states basically say, hey, I came across one of your videos and I'm going through that adversity right now, and by watching this, it has helped me. And I'm just like, I'm not doing Made Equal to sell t-shirts or joggers or hoodies or sneakers. I'm doing Made Equal for those three people that reached out. And so like going back to Michaela, like her story is she was raised from a single parent household, and she was made fun of for her beautiful hair, her beautiful afro hair. And so the charity she chose was Hearts for Moms, and it basically is an organization that supports and helps single parents across the state of Florida. And so she was in the office the other day, and I was like, Michaela, what can we do to help you more? Brand yourself. So this is something that we're looking into right now, is we want to do private collections and branding Michaela separate, because there will be a time where there's life after softball. So we're creating a private collection for her. But I'm also looking into college trademark licensing as well for the future. And then what I want to do, because having that conversation with Michaela was just so alarming on how much disparity there is on the NIL front when it comes to men and female, male and females. Like, cause I was like, Michaela, I want to do more for you because you've done a lot for us already. And so I'm like, I'm just gonna throw out a number on percentage of coming to you. And I threw out a number, and I was like, I don't know if I'm lowballing or not, but I was just gonna see. And I'm like, Michaela, what is your, if you don't mind me asking, because she has a lot of NIL deals, and she mentioned that, honestly, Chirag, that is probably would be my highest NIL deal, the one that percentage that I sent her. And I was like, my goodness. So like, what I envision to help Michaela and other female athletes is, as I'm able to get these college trademark licensing, as I'm able to build out these private collections with her and future other people, I want to do something, and I'm kind of in the talks with Florida State and FAMU to get licensing. Okay. If I'm able to use their trademarks and licensing on apparel that we design, I want the money, because for any partnership, percentage of X percentage will go back to a cause. Right. I would love to have that money go specifically to scholarships, student athlete scholarship, but for women, and supporting them. Gotcha. Because me personally, I was raised by 5 moms. They taught me everything and anything. Specifically love, compassion, all that stuff. And so, and my family is dominated by women. And the world is run by women. So they need more support, they need more love, whether that's a student athlete, whether that's an entrepreneur, or somebody that wants to be president one day. And so that's one of my goals personally for current and Made Equal is, what can we do to support females in 2024? So, is it normal for NIL athletes to direct their money toward charities? No, not at all. There are obviously, the first part about it is just, ask me that again, sorry. Because both your NIL athletes are directing their money toward charities. I've never heard of that before. So is that something you've heard of from other NIL athletes, or that's for you, that's unique to your athletes? So I personally haven't heard of that specific, but I always believe that not all student athletes just in it for the money. They're actually trying to build themselves up and give back. I don't think all student athletes are like that. I was just very lucky and blessed that I got the chance to, I'm working with these 2 individuals right now that chose that. And at the same time, as a startup, as somebody that's just starting with 0, that was helpful too. But now, like, as we are growing, I'm like, okay, what can I do to help them even more? Obviously, I can send them all the merch. I can continue donating to their charities of choice. but what's next? So
Right.
like that's why I'm like private collections. Like there's so many NIL deals, but like it's nothing. And then from what I've seen, I don't think anybody else is doing it.
So, and if they are, it's not being publicized.
Correct.
I think on the NIL side, the most money I've heard so far is Marvin Harrison Jr. being given, he could be giving up $25 million next year to stay in college.
Yeah.
But let's just say he's always been giving back. He's always been donating toward charities. Nobody's talking about it.
Right.
And so, yes, please scream that to the mountaintops.
No, and again, telling those stories too of
Yeah.
women athletes. Like I had the pleasure of connecting with Ashley. She's the CEO of the new soccer team that's coming to the TLH Reckoning.
Okay.
And I told her and she brought over one of her players, Paige, and I was just impressed by what she's trying to accomplish here. And again, we talked about for an hour just the disparity.
Right.
And what we need to do to support them.
Right.
That ultimately supports the community, grows the community, brings more people to Tallahassee, live, play,
Right.
prosper.
Right. So how did you get connected get into the NIL?
Yeah.
And how did that all come about?
Oh, for sure. So again, this was last summer, and I'm just like, what's this NIL thing?
Yeah.
Like, I think it was just becoming more and more of a thing where like businesses can now
Right.
get involved.
Right.
NCAA decided to kind of pull, like let us loose a little bit.
Mhm.
And so I just randomly put out a tweet. I'm like, look guys, I have this company, Made Equal, would love to see if anybody can introduce me to NIL. Like I would love to do NIL agreements or partnerships. And Twitter went to storm. I used the hashtag FSU Twitter, which is a community of itself, and great support. And they initially connected me to Jake Norris from No Off Season. It's a sports agency out of Tampa Bay, and they represent Trey amongst other athletes. And then started working with him, cultivating, and then as that partnership was growing more and more each day, I was like, I was just like laying down after work, and I'm like, well, if I'm doing this with Trey, and if I wanted to stay true to the name Made Equal, I gotta think about the other side of it. So then I was like, I reached out to like soccer, women's soccer, women's basketball, and then somebody hit me up like, have you found somebody on the women front yet? I'm like, no, I'm still looking. And I found the right person for you. I'm like, who? Michaela. And I watch softball very religiously, especially soccer. And I was like, I know of her, but I don't know her. So we had like an initial like Zoom session, Skype session, and I was like, I laid it out for her. She told me what her thoughts were, and it was like instant. And like the cool thing about it all was she was from like me living in Marianna. Mm-hmm. She was literally 15 minutes down the road in another small town.
Okay.
And I'm just like,
it's usually work out like
we
that.
could just talk about that.
Yes,
and we're solid.
Yes.
And so yeah, we're literally neighbors.
That's good.
Town wise. And yeah, we hit it off right off the bat. And so, no, it's exciting. This NIL thing is a weird, crazy thing, but the opportunities for businesses.
If you're looking for more athletes, I know I got a couple people in my head right now who have agencies where they help athletes get to the next level.
Okay.
So definitely connect you.
Yeah.
And I can't go further without congratulating the Florida State women's soccer team on their 2023 national championship. This is like their fourth one, and I've been keeping up with the team, keeping up with their championship. So congratulations to all the ladies on their national championship.
And on the flip side of it, I got to shout out to our FAMU football team.
Yes.
Coach Willie Simmons, congratulations. I'm a FSU alum, but I was watching that game religiously, and it was a close matchup with Howard.
Yeah,
but
it's closer
we
than I
pulled
wanted.
through, and I was excited, very excited, because the hard work that those student athletes put in, day out, and to achieve that is amazing. To be HBCU national champion has a great ring to it.
I'm 100% for FAMU. I wanted FAMU to win, but I understood the significance of this game being FAMU and Howard, like the two most popular, well-publicized HBCU. So this was a win-win for the Celebration Bowl. If either school, now of course being a rap, I'm glad.
Of course.
But just overall for Black college football and just football period. Talking to some of my coworkers today, that was one of the highest rated programs on ESPN that day.
Yeah.
So all of that is amazing and it's fantastic. So you have your initial motivation that went into you creating your businesses. You had your hurdles with your parents. You was able to overcome that. You're building a business. You're experiencing success. You're starting to thrive. You are in the community. You're spreading your wings. You're planting seeds. You're giving back. You're helping people. What are some of the challenges and obstacles that you had to overcome to have the success that you have, and not even some of the obstacles with your parents, just within the business? What are some of those things that you had to overcome?
I mean, from the current side, it was just kind of like the unknown of like clients. Like in the beginning, I'm just like, I'm a 24-year-old CEO who is gonna take me serious. And the other side of it is kind of like faking it till I make it kind of thing too. And again, I'm not faking it till I make it nowadays, but it was just, it's gotta start somewhere. And I think the other side, just the current side, was just people think like if I align myself with this big name in the community, they're gonna take me under their wings and I'm gonna be coasting.
Yeah.
As someone that thought that and someone that does not agree with that anymore, it can become toxic.
Yeah.
And so what I want to get with the current side is not every client or every customer is the right customer, and it's okay to say no. It may be challenging to say no. Like, believe me, I find it, and all my employees can say that Chirag says yes to everybody. It's hard to say no. I mean, like, it's an opportunity. But it's okay to say no.
It is.
And then on the Made Equal side, I think the most challenging thing is I'm not just a clothing brand. I'm a clothing brand that focuses on social issues. If it was just a clothing brand, I would have such a bigger market, bigger audience, pool of customers. But unfortunately, when you add one or multiple social causes, it cuts your audience in half, unfortunately. And so the first 6-7 months of the company, sales were nothing. The sales just started picking up the following, the growth, the engagement just started picking up. So in the beginning, when we were like, we can't focus on sales. We have to focus on content and storytelling. And so we was just like, okay, let's stop any sales stuff. Again, we're in year one. It's okay if we don't make money. I think it's just more about awareness, getting the story out, and helping people. And so that's what we focused on, was just storytelling and just getting our name out as much as possible. And then now sales have grown so much, consistency. I mean, 500,000 followers, 7K donated. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. You can see the growth, and being able to see the growth and see the challenges that you've overcome.
Yeah. And not to say it's a perfect world, everything's perfect now. No, but we're putting ourselves in the right places. So if something out of the blue does happen, we're ready for it. Right.
So what's the future for Chirag Shah? What's the future for Made Equal and Current?
Yeah, I mean, the future for Current is always bright. Again, to give more opportunities. Again, current light bulb lights, right? I had to do it. It's again, continue taking care of my people here. Whether that's providing any and every benefit possible to make sure that they're happy, they're able to pay their bills, enjoy life, have a good time. That's really what it comes down to. And at the same time, taking care of all of our clients that give us the opportunity. On the Made Equal side, again, going back to leaving the legacy, that's where I want to make sure that I help people the most and tell their stories. Like, yes, there's the clothing side, the money side, the we're a business, so we got to make money, so there's that. But again, if I can continue driving, telling other people's stories there, that's cool for me.
Yeah.
And then for me personally, it's just, when you become an entrepreneur, it's like you get that itch. And I'm sure everybody watching that's an entrepreneur wants to be an entrepreneur. They'll be like that too. But I'm 34 years old, I have 2 companies. I want to continue doing more. Like I just got that itch.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's next? So me and a buddy of mine, we're in the works of starting our own nonprofit around anti-bullying.
Good.
Both online and offline, because it happens both places, unfortunately. So, but we're challenging the status quo when it comes to nonprofits. It's going to be completely something, I'll just say it's going to be completely something different that it hasn't been done, it hasn't been seen. It's been unheard of what we're trying to do, but I think it's going to do amazing things.
Good.
And then I want to start more companies. It's just, I love it. Thinking about possibly starting my own brewery, cidery one day.
Yeah.
I want to open up like a app development company.
Oh, your interest.
Yeah. There's so much stuff happening in here. It's just I know that sometimes I need to slow down and take it one thing at a time.
Well, the best part is because there are people who have all these ideas but have no foundation set. You already have 2 companies that you've already started.
For sure.
You can dream big.
And again, it all started with Current.
Yeah.
Because it's helped me break out of so many different shells, Joe. Like from being able to talk to people, to learning different skill sets, to making sure my people are happy. That foundation has helped me start Made Equal now. Like, okay, well, that foundation of Current gave me the opportunity to go get my master's. I've always wanted to go get my master's. And so I was like, one day I was looking out my window and I'm like looking at all my team happy. And I'm like, is this the time to go get my master's? And I asked them, like, guys, are y'all okay with me to go get my master's? They're like, yes, please. So I got my master's from Savannah College of Art and Design. And then what I learned there and how the people here, Savannah, Ben, Anna, Brooke, Dakota, Hannah, they inspire me every day to start Made Equal. So now I'm doing Made Equal, and who knows? Made Equal is going to go a lot of places. And
that's good.
I'm ready for it.
That's good. That's good. Before we wrap this up, what piece of advice would you give to a person who has a goal but may have challenges? Their challenge may be their mindset, the challenge could be family, the challenge could be lack of resources, or just, I don't know what the first step to take, but I know I have a goal that I want to reach. What advice would you give that person?
So I'll give you the short and the long. Simply go ask for help. And what I mean by that is when I first started my first company, Current, again, 24-year-old CEO, trying to start his own company. The first thing that I did was I reached out to other marketing professionals in my community that owned some very big agencies. Deanna Mims, Market Dunn, Tom Derzapolsky, Boustern, and Karen Moore at Moore Agency. And I basically shot them either a Facebook message, a random Facebook message, or a LinkedIn request. And I'm like, hey, I'm Chirag. I am starting my own marketing firm. I don't know if you had time to get coffee or if I can stop by the office to connect, to learn more, if you don't mind. They all gave me their time, and it was just a great opportunity. I think one of the most eye-opening that I use as like my motivation and inspiration every day is Karen Moore. She probably doesn't remember this, but if she does watch this, she'll know. I came by her office in the beginning. This was like a week into starting the company. And it came down to the conversation. She's like, Chirag, you are doing so much already. If you continue doing what you're doing and staying positive, no doubt you'll be bigger than us one day.
Good.
And I'm just like, she doesn't even know who I am. At least I don't think she does. And like, she said that. And I'm just like, me and her, like, obviously don't get many chances to run into each other. But like, I will never forget that moment. And yeah, like, so yes, your friends and your family will always have your back, whether you realize it right away or you don't. But it's always great to have those outside perspectives. It's good to have unbiased perspectives. Because they'll keep you honest.
Yes.
Because obviously family is going to support you, love you, like, yes, do it 100%. But those unbiased perspectives, you got to mix that in with the unbiased.
You have to have it.
Yeah. So I would say that would be my giveaway or lead back of like, this is like what you should do.
And that's great. That's great advice. You have a great story. You have great companies. You have a great mission, a great mindset, a great heart, everything behind you. You know I'm with you.
I appreciate that.
And,
I appreciate the love.
Anytime you need me, you just call me.
Yeah,
And you know
same.
I'll be here.
Same.
But I want to make sure that we capture your story.
For sure.
And we also be a part of future things that you have. So let's continue this collaboration. Let's continue all the work that we've been doing. And congratulations on all of your accomplishments coming this far, for the bravery that you had to start the company, to continue with your dream and your goals, despite what everybody else was saying. You stuck to your gun. So congratulations, and I thank you for that.
Thank you for everything you do for our community.
I appreciate it.
Deserve it.
I appreciate it. So how can people get in contact with you?
Yeah, so you can go to our website, current.agency, or madeequalco.com. We're on every social media channels: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, YouTube, TikTok. If you put in Current Agency or Made Equal Co. or Made Equal, we'll pop up. So, and then you can find me on LinkedIn, all the channels as well.
There you go.
Just put Chirag P. Shah.
Hey, he has the light, and he's shining his light bright on everybody else. That's what we're here for. Chirag Shah, he's the man. Thank y'all for tuning in. We'll catch you all next time.
Take care, guys.